I feel like it's going to keep moving. I have a tripod that's a very nice tripod, and I just refuse to read the directions. I just won't. I won't out of principle. This should be easy. 1, 2, 3, maybe step 4. But we'll see how it goes. It keeps going back and forth, and I feel like I am off kilter, but what a great visual representation for how I feel as a person. Hello, my name is Katie. I have been wanting to do a channel for quite some time, and I just didn't know really what about, or I always have so many ideas, so it's about like picking something. But anyway, I just decided, especially with all the cosmic energy going on, today is the 16th of January 2020, and anybody who's into that or, you know, is on Instagram or whatever knows that there's cosmic, crazy, astrological shit going on right now. Chinese New Year is just around the corner, so I guess technically we're still rounding out, finishing off things like this cold or flu that I had. I don't know. It's lingering though. But anyway, in one of the many astrological apps that I follow today, they're like, Mercury is heading into Aquarius, I think it was today. I listen to a lot of stuff. None of it really retains sometimes except for the intention, or I like to think that it's, you know, whatever I need to grab onto, I will, and I will remember. That's a good thing to remember so it doesn't drive you fucking insane, because there's so much information out there. But my spirit today said, fuck it. I have tried making videos in the past and ended up dying a horrible death in the editing room, also known as iMovie, on my computer. But this is a great way to get started, because the topic of this video, as some would call it, humans, is let it fucking go. Let it go! You know I had to. If there was another song that I could think of, I would have done that. But, you know, here's some more royalties for you. Adele Dazeem, what did he call her again? I don't know, but we know. I almost forgot her real, Idina Menzel, Jesus Christ. Anyway, letting it go. It's very hard to live in this world these days. And there's so many things that we get inundated with, conditioned with, parents, institutions like school, religion, all this shit, right? Of all these things that basically weave in self-hate and shame. There's nothing wrong with a healthy amount of shame, but like all of us are really inundated, and I was, you know, raised Catholic for the most part. So for me, I'm super inundated with shame. It's everywhere. It's in everything I feel. I was talking about it with a friend today because they're reading, is it Grisham? I can't remember. Healing the Shame That Binds You, that I need to read. And he was saying, you know, there's so many ways that society puts in that shame, especially from an early development stage. So like you get an F on a test, you feel shame from that, and then you're like, I'm a shitty person. And it just snowballs as you get older. I was talking with another friend today, Tully Sater, who's an amazing artist. You should check him out. He lives out in Chile. Tully, Tully, and last name Sater, Satre. He's amazing. He has a website. He has paintings for sale. He's incredible, and he's constantly traveling. One of the best humans I know. And we were talking today about how we went to college together out in Chicago, and he still is a magical, incredible human being who's accomplished so much. But there was something about, because we've had many conversations over the past few years about how things haven't turned out the way that we wanted to. We thought our paths would be different. You know, he's obviously an artist, and I am an actor and singer. And then, you know, also I do hair as like the day job. I thought about him the other day because I was listening to something about how we just need to trust the universe and embrace it and just fall in and just trust 100% that something, whatever it is, even if we don't know what it is, and we're actually not supposed to know how it happens, but that we will be caught and we will fall into what we need to fall into. And young 18-year-old Tully reminds me so much of that person, because he was always just that magical being that we all looked at and we're like, how the fuck did he do that? How the fuck is he meeting these people? How the fuck is he doing this, that? Like, he advocated for gay rights against a politician, like when he was like 16 or 17, and he had this long ass black hair, and like he, I think had already come out of the closet at that point in time too, and he was going to a Catholic school, went to musical theater school where we met in Chicago, and like halfway through second semester, or maybe all of second semester, like was just in his room. He decided that it was more important for him to not go to classes and stay in his room, and like he kept buying these big things of canvas and just getting all these different colors of duct tape and just like ripping them in all different sizes and weaving them like a basket. Like here, I'll show you. This is like one of his first works right here. I love it, and I will never ever let it go. No matter how many times he asks if, you know, if I want to sell it back to him or something, which I think he's asking maybe once. He's gonna watch this and be like, "What are you talking about?" But he stayed away from classes and stuff. Like if I had done that at that age, and even today, I would be so worried that, you know, my parents would be pissed at me because of money, or that like I would be getting in trouble, or that like, I don't know, but he just trusted it because that's what he felt he needed to do. He followed his intuition, he did that. And then he applied to the Art Institute of Chicago with these paintings and things that he had done. And he got like a really amazing scholarship to go there. And then that's been his life, you know, is art. I was just reminding him of that today, and I was like, if you're ever feeling down, like just remember that you're a badass motherfucking human who from a very young age would just like fall into shit and things would grab you. And you didn't know what that was gonna be, but you did it anyway because you knew, you followed that intuition. So I invite myself, I invite all of you, right? This is not one of those things where like, I know better than you. I'm just basically sharing the things that I'm learning as I go along that are helping me. And this is a very recent new thing. You know how you hear things like, let it go, and you're like, I know what that means. I know. And then it hits you in a certain way. And then a couple months later, it hits you in a different sort of way. And then like maybe a couple years later, it hits you in an even different way. And you're supposed to go through all those stages and stuff to figure out you as a human, because it's always gonna be a progress. It's always gonna be a discovery of who the fuck we are. It's always going to be ever changing, and that's okay. So I invite all of us to let shit go, especially with the recent Saturn conjunct Pluto and shit. That's what it's all about, is like setting your intentions. What do you actually want? What do you actually want? What actually means something to you, not anybody else. Fuck everyone else. What means something to you? Be selfish and let everything else that's around that, all the worries, all the fears that are around that, all the ways that you think that it's not gonna work out, let that shit go, right? You go out, you get into traffic, especially in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta and the traffic is fucking insane here. But I spent a year being stressed out about it, and then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't wanna feel like this anymore. Like I love that. Like I listen to so much Abraham Hicks. And if you don't know who that is, it's basically a woman named Esther Hicks channels, and it's this spirit, this being that talks through her, or this conglomeration of beings called Abraham Hicks. And if you're listening to that and you're like, that sounds fucking crazy, or let that go. Just listen to the wisdom that she has to give. You don't have to understand what it is that's going on with her in the channeling. Just listen. Whenever I start out my day with that, like today, with just listening to segments of her, and you can find so many things of like 10 to 15 minute like snippets of her conventions, and it always brightens my day from a very practical, spiritual, metaphysical standpoint, if that makes sense, because she is always about whatever thought that you're having, just follow the next good feeling thought, next good feeling thought, next good feeling thought. Put all the good shit in your vortex, because we have a vortex, law of manifestation, right? And if we put negative things in, negative things come out. If we put in positive things come out, you know? It attracts one another. Just be in alignment with what you want and who you are. And then once you put that manifestation out there, you just gotta fucking let it go and just follow the next good feeling thought. I get so caught up in my shame, or I constantly say how awkward I am. And that's something that I need to let go and stop putting that into conversation and stop saying it out loud. I was talking to a friend the other day, and they were like, you know, whenever you say that, like the way that other people look at that a lot of times, whenever you're not in your own fucking brain beating yourself up and saying, I'm so fucking awkward, the way that other people perceive that is interesting, quirky, things like that. So it's good to hear those things, and it's good to have those conversations, I guess, sometimes, as long as you're not like wallowing in self-pity and like, give me all the compliments so that I need outside stimulus to make me feel better. No, fuck that shit. Have the conversations, maybe get those outside points of view and be like, you know what? I'm not so bad. And let me take that and adopt that, get rid of the other shit. Why is it that the list of like all the terrible things that people have always said to us, like we memorize to a fucking T, like it's for a fucking test, but all the good shit that people say, we're like, what are they trying to get out of me? I don't know if I believe that. Well, I don't feel like I look beautiful today, so maybe they probably didn't even mean that. And they're just trying to, I don't know, date you? I don't know. Anyway, just letting go all of that shit. And like this life, a bunch of terrible shit going on in our world right now. Let's be aware of it. Let's be proactive about it, but let's not stay in the negative energy of that. Like wallowing in that and being like, oh, everything's so terrible, so terrible, so terrible. find something to donate to, find a fundraiser, do something that's proactive that gets you in a different state of mind of hope and like how can we change this and all of that, instead of staying in the world is shit, everything is shit, the world is on fire, holy fuck, Gaia's gonna fucking kill all of us, which she has every right to do in my opinion. But I'm not gonna follow that thought, because then I'll just hole up in my apartment and not go anywhere, which really does seem like a great idea sometimes, but gotta make that money. Atlanta's not cheap. I invite us all to do that. Like, now's the time. 2020, I know everybody's like, oh, New Year resolutions, ugh. You don't have to like totally make yourself like crazy over all of these things like I do. True Capricorn, so like I made 20 pages of like resolutions and shit. But if anything, it got me brainstorming about how I want to change my life and how I just want to get some shit moving. I've always wanted to be in an original band. I've always wanted to create something new, and it's always kept me the fact that like I can't play an instrument so well, or what, because like singing is my thing, but I sing and I write poetry. So I want to put that to good use. There's somebody who scored a short film that I did with some of my friends recently, and anyway, I just hit him up the other day and I was like, listen, you are a musician, you create music, you did awesome, composition for our short film, like let's get together, let's fucking jam. He was down. I don't know what's gonna happen from this, but I'm putting out creative energy, and that's what they say 2020 is all about too, creative energy. We are all creative. Fuck that shit if you say that you're not creative. There's a lot of creative thinking that goes into a lot of things, even day jobs that we might not actually like or want, but like, I don't know, math can be creative and shit. History can be creative and shit. Science can be creative and shit. I mean, it's all hypotheses, right? It's all things like, well, what if this? And let's test that. But you have to have that imagination, that creativity to even think of those fucking things in the first place. So putting just that energy out there of the things that you want, and you don't need to know how, and you don't need to know when. Oh, and believe you me, I am telling myself, you don't need to know how, you don't need to know when. Do you understand? Is it getting through to you? We just need to put the energy out there. So, well, my friend and I were meeting up to write together, like not the same thing, but just to hold each other accountable. And then, my friend that I make, short films and stuff with, like we have other things that we want to do, like so many fucking things. We don't know how it's going to happen, but fuck it. Like, let's just get together and make shit happen, and we'll just piece it together as we go. Because really, guys, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. They just take what other people did, the people who are doing the things they did, and they're like, that's a way of doing it. That's the way to do it. Guess what? There's not just one way to do it. There's not just one way to skin a cat. Hate that analogy, especially specifically to you. We are each so special in our own way, with our own natal charts on all of our planets and the way that it affects all of us and our creative energy and all of that. We are all different, so it's all gonna look different for us. But that's great, that's fine. That's what makes us all beautiful and shit. Things that get me out of my head and help me let go. Just finished day 2 of Yoga with Adrienne, her home series. From what I understand, it is a 30-day yoga practice that is gradually getting you into your body, because she's intending it to be very conscientious of like, okay, I'm feeling all of my muscles. I am reaching through my fingers, even for the simplest of positions. She has a word each day that she applies to each practice. And today's was intend. So she had us come up with an intention, right? And my intention was to align and to let it go. And they also say with that, these manifestations and stuff, you have to live in that feeling, right? Like you have to live like it's already happened, because that is energy that goes in, because that's all the universe listens to. They're like, okay, they are living their lives in that feeling that this thing has already happened. And, my thing, that she is an ever working, ever creative actress, and that's how she makes her living. And she's living in that energy, like it's already happening. So you know what? We're going to give her more shit that will continue that feeling, because that's how she's feeling, and that's what we match. It's a fucking mirror. And your yoga mat, my friend Brienne, who's a yoga instructor, she is so fucking right. Your yoga mat is a mirror of your actual life, your world, the micro imitating the macro, as above so below, all that shit. For us to like actually be intentional with everything that we do and paying attention without giving in to all the negative thoughts of self-hate and self-destruction would really, really serve us. So yoga, great, get you out of your head and, allow that to be time for you. That's why I love Adrienne so much. She has such a great energy. Sometimes, like, whenever I finish a yoga practice with her, I start tearing up, like tonight, because I just, like, her energy is so pure, and I even feel that through her videos. So I dig her so much. She's amazing. And then there is this woman, I think her real name is Heather, but her channel is Activation Vibration, and basically does these 10 to 20 minute inspirational metaphysical videos, you know, giving advice and stuff. She's a hell of a lot more knowledgeable, I would say, than me. That's not nice to say. See, I need to stop saying things like that. But something that I love so much about her energy is that she's like, whatever you want your practice to be, whatever you make your reality to be, that's what it is. Like, fuck what other people say. You believe that, I heard this in rehab too, like you want your higher power, whoever you want it to be, whether your higher power is like this beautiful lesbian goddess in the sky, or the traditional God, which hopefully a lot of us are getting over that, or Jesus, or, you know, Buddha, or, you know, whatever you want your reality to be, whatever you want your spiritual practice to be, that is what it is. And you put that power in and you stand in that fucking power, and you will start to see things manifest because of that. I feel so harshly FOMO all the time, and social media definitely doesn't help with that. I've been so into Instagram lately, and I need to unplug from that, besides just like sharing, you know, things like this and whatnot. But it's so easy to get into that constantly comparing. I'm missing out on this. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing this. And it's like, again, you have your own journey, so let that shit go. Let comparison go. Let ill will or jealousy towards other people who are maybe doing what you want to do, or who are at least successful at their long-term goals. Let that go. Be happy for them, and then focus on you. What's going to make you happy? What's going to make you feel good? Following people's posts that are making you feel like shit, every single thing that you see, that's not making you feel good. So get out of your brain, do some yoga. Meditation, oh my God, I've been doing meditation now for I think a year and a half. And it's not every day that I do it, but I do at least try to do 5 minutes a day. I can't tell you how much that's changed my life, seriously. And I had people for fucking years that were like, you need to meditate. Have you tried meditating? Might be good for you. Tons of people. Even like past acting training that I've had, you should meditate. I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it. Sitting down and being still for 5 minutes and not trying to think of anything, which is not the way to approach a meditation in my opinion. It's about calming the waters of your mind. It's not about, thank you, Nicole, if you're watching. She came with me the other night. She was in town, and we went to a Korean spa, and it was her first time going to a Korean spa. And we brought bathing suits because in the nude area, we thought that it would be okay to wear bathing suits. It was not. So she was very hesitant about getting fully nude. And she's like, I've never done that in front of anybody. And I've been to a Korean spa before, so I have. And anyway, I was so fucking proud of her because we were like giggly schoolgirls at first about it. And we were like checking the policy like on the phone and stuff too. Like, oh yeah, no, it says we gotta be completely nude in this one area. Because you have to like shower and all that shit before you go to the other saunas. But like, I was so fucking proud of her because she was like, definitely don't feel comfortable with this. Oh God, fuck it. And then she just did it. Like, she let that shit go. And you know what? Kudos for her. And I kept telling her, I'm like, I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, a lot of people would be like, I don't know, let's see if we get our money back. But I was so happy, and we just had so many great conversations that night too. But one of them was, she had told me about some podcast she had listened to recently that said, look at meditation as your brain, your mind, right? Is this body of water, like a lake. And it's at night, and you're looking down at the lake, and you see the reflection of the moon so perfectly in that lake. And then you throw a stone. Maybe somebody throws a stone, you throw a stone or something, maybe because you start worrying about something, or something outside of you comes into play, you know, something that you didn't bank on, a problem, and throws a stone in there, and then there's ripples, and then maybe the other stones get thrown in there, or there's even more ripples. Maybe it even gets to the point where there's like fucking waves or some shit. But it's our job, and it's what meditation helps with, to take a deep breath, realize these things are going on, accept them, and just calm the waters of your mind. Because when all those ripples and all those outside things and things that you make up in your own brain, these stories that we tell ourselves are making these waves and making these ripples, we can't see the moon, the actual thing that we're focused on, for what it really is. It's not clear. So whenever you take the time to still the mind, and it doesn't have to be abrupt, it's just like, you know, just wait for it to thaw out. Do whatever you need to do to calm those waters so that you can see your intention, your moon, your goals clearly, what's actually going on in front of you, the problem at hand. There might be a problem at hand, clearly, instead of having all of this shit in there. And I feel like there's so much less shit in here, and there's a lot of shit in here. I feel like there's so much less shit in here from having a meditation practice. And I mean, there's tons of videos out there, but they always say the same thing. You look to anybody, a visionary in our society, anybody who's made an amazing fucking company, most oftentimes than not, they have a meditation practice too. Because you have to quiet all of that shit, and then you hear your intuition, not your ego, but your intuition that's very, very quiet, very to the point, very simple, tell you what it is that you actually need to do. What's the next step? Can't do that if you're hearing all the other chatter and shit. And I have like tons of fucking voices in my head. And a lot of them tend to be negative. Just a little crazy. Just a tad. Not crazy. You know, we're all a little mentally ill, right? All right. At least if it's just situational. Guys, just be good to yourselves. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, Katie. And you know, you gotta live with you. You come into this world alone, you die alone. God, that's a terrible way to end this. But Gonzo was right? Hunter S. Thompson. Like, you know, we come in alone, we die alone. And the whole point is that you are with you at all times. Why would you not do your absolute best in whatever you need to do to love the fuck out of yourself? And like this imposter syndrome that we feel of like, oh man, like I'll give this person benefit of the doubt, but I don't deserve the benefit of the doubt because if they only knew that the things that I think of every day or that thing that I did a couple years ago or this or that and the other. Everybody has their own stories of that. Everybody has their own shit like that. Everybody suffers from imposter syndrome at some point. All the actors that I fucking love who I think are so brilliant and I want to be, all of them say the same thing. Well, I'm just waiting one day until everybody figures out that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. You just do the next step and the next thing and the next great feeling thought and the next thing you need to do. Meditate. Get that quiet so you can hear the next thing you do. You know, that inner voice. Satnam, right? The truth is within me, right? Like, we just need to be good to ourselves. Don't be so hard on ourselves and just let go of all of the clutter and all of the shit and all of the heartache and just be and just love. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this. I guess I'm gonna try to just put a video out there whenever I feel it's prevalent and try not to repeat myself, even though I covered a lot of stuff in this. But anyway, let it go, I can't take it anymore. You shouldn't take it anymore. Love yourself. Radical self-love. It's a real thing. Unconditional self-love. Okay, guys, be good. Have a good night.